gather over here, and then I'll talk a bit, and then you can get your pictures. A nice time of day, the sun shining on it. But it was believed that everything dates later than, all the way up at the top. There was a massive cut that she went all the way to undisturbed soil, and she dated it back to 800 to 10,000 BC. I can tell you more about it when we are in the car, but Leon Wood, who's a conservative scholar, engineered this base, and he believes this is the part of Jericho wall. The top fell when it penetrated both the upper wall and the lower wall, and he put the house of, here are the drying flax, Rahab, and the window open so that they could go out by the cords. So the ground level was here, but he dug down to find the wall's base, and he believes that that was the base that Jericho had the walls built on. But other than that, there's nothing above that dates from the time. And it would have been much bigger, but it's only like a big loaf of bread, 6 acres now. And none of it except there was a massive, she dated 8,000, round rock tower. Had 21 well-dressed steps, and there was a lookout tower way down below level. She said it would seem to have been built by the Middle Ages, but they were so advanced that they built it, and when they were attacked, they cut off heads, and they plastered the surface, and they buried them under the feet of the living. And then skeletons were driven in the entrance of those steps. The tower was completely, except for those 21 steps, and it was simply a tower. And so when she started finding them, she said it was in the balk, and all of a sudden in a balk you never touch. It's the one that keeps the circle open. She saw a skull, and she was the one that started this type of digging called the Kenyan method. Kenyan, as well as another early archaeology, and it's now followed by having walls in a 16-foot square, 5 meters, and we go down with that and maintain the balk. And so because it was in the balk, she didn't want to cut into it, but was so fascinated, why is there the skull? And when she dug it out, and there were several skulls, they found the skeleton remains later, like an attacker came. These, she thought, these are beheaded enemies. And but then she noticed the only weapon was a kind of donut rock on the end of a ball bat, and they smashed people's heads, but they were perfect. But then when she found out that they were beautifully plastered, she came and put under the feet of the living. It was ancestor worship that they had. There goes the up to the top of the place where Jesus was tempted. And so she feels that the heads of the ancestors, they tried to preserve their wisdom in there, and they didn't plaster the top of the head, and they didn't plaster the lower jaw, but they did the rest of the face. And each of them are different, like they were putting the skin back on, and they had no pictures to go by, and they all are different. Why would they not plaster the bottom jaw? You can't talk without moving your bottom jaw. So the wisdom, and she believed that they were ancestors of worship. And this is way, way early, before metal of any kind. We go all the way back to 4th millennium.
Stone Age.
For copper. Well, Stone Age is even earlier than that, where there's no metal at all. So this is the information we have on Jericho, and that's about all that's left, other than what the Bible tells us about what happened. So I wanted you to see it, to see that this is the latest evidence, and he believes this is an earlier wall, and Joshua's walls were right on top of it.
Was it true that the walls were wide enough to have chariot races on top of it?
Oh no, but there was in Babylon. Well, not chariot races, you could ride chariots abreast on it, I think. That was in Babylon, not here.
Not here.
No, because you'd have to have real wall. And Nebuchadnezzar had 3 walls sometimes. I mean, he had vast support.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the mountain temptation you said right there?
That's it, with the stone wall around. Nothing inside except the tradition that Jesus was tempted to give to take the nations of the world if he fell down and worshiped Satan. Okay.